right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Those are part of your Miranda rights, Americans. They are there to protect your Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer self-incriminating questions. This week, the Supreme Court crumpled up the spirit of your Fifth Amendment right and threw it into the trash. With a 5-4 ruling, they upheld the murder conviction of Genevieve Salinas from Texas. Here's the story. Salinas was convicted of a murder in 1992. Before he had been arrested, the police informally questioned him. Salinas answered a few questions, but when the police asked him if a shotgun he had access to would match up with the murder weapon, he didn't answer. He chose to remain silent, to not incriminate himself. Prosecutors in the case admitted his silence into court as evidence of his guilt, and he was found guilty. Salinas appealed, saying that his Fifth Amendment right to stay silent should have kept the prosecutor from using his silence against him. But the Supreme Court upheld the decision of the court that found him guilty. According to Justice Alito, the Miranda decision only covers suspects who are held in custody and are not free to leave. According to this decision, if you are not being held formally, cops don't have to read you your rights. If you want to remain silent under the Fifth, in this case, you must invoke that right. You must literally say, I plead the Fifth, or I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate myself, or some other verbal declaration. If you don't, and a cop is just informally asking you some questions, your silence can be used against you in a court of law under this new ruling. So, now that that crazy precedent has been set, it's quite possible that cops will now take their time arresting and formally detaining someone so that they know that if the person remains silent, they can totally use that against the person in court. And it's probable that most people won't realize their silence can indeed be used against them if they haven't been formally detained or arrested. Not only does this new ruling drastically limit the scope of your Miranda rights, Americans, it decimates your Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself by introducing this technicality of your having to declare you have this right. It's a pretty crazy ruling, and one we should definitely not remain silent about. Tonight, let's talk about that by following me on Twitter @TheResident.